Hello everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Hashinshin. Today I'm going to be doing something that I don't normally do. We're going to be talking about what made Xayah so broken. Now I don't normally like to make videos that will talk about a specific period in time or something that, it's not going to be interesting to watch in like a week later, right? But I think this is actually an interesting case in Riot's item design and their champion balance and all that stuff being bad, and it all started culminating in a terrible thing. Now, for those of you who don't know, Xayah, let's go through here. Xayah was hotfix nerfed within a single day of a patch, and while I can't go and look at the win rates of that single day, I do have a screenshot. She had a 55% win rate and a 28% ban rate on Masters Plus the day after the patch, or maybe this was Diamond Plus, I don't know. She was extremely broken. I had to be hotfixed within 1 day. What happened? Well, when I go into that, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. All those things are helpful for me and for promoting my content and helping me to make more of these videos. Now, originally when I made this video, I was going to read through all of Xayah's patch notes and talk about how many times she was buffed. However, I feel like that was not the interesting part of the video. The more interesting part of the video ended up being talking about items and agency and Xayah's balance and stuff. So just to start this video, let's start talking and going through this. For those of you who don't know, back in season 9, ability-based AD carry itemization was pretty strong, and Xayah got a few, by a few I mean a lot of nerfs then. Since then, Riot hasn't been allowing AD carry ability. That means crit items designed for champions who still use abilities. As weird as that sounds, because that basically covers if you auto attack and use abilities, which is, but anyway, since then that sort of itemization has been pretty weak. So Xayah got her health buffed, she got the damage on her ult buffed. It's actually double what it was, by the way. It was 100 to 200, now it's 200 to 400, you'll see that later. She got her attack damage growth buffed, she got her attack speed buffed, we're gonna be here a while. She got the cooldown on her Q reduced, this is her E, the cooldown on her E, that's her pull, is that her pull? Yeah, that's how she pulls the feathers in and it does like a trillion damage, okay? That cooldown got reduced, the mana cooldown, mana cost on that got reduced, the damage on her Q, that's when she goes dink dink and throws out the 2 daggers, that got reduced, the cooldown on her ult got significantly reduced, the damage on her ult, this is when it finally goes 200 to 400, so it used to be 100 to 200, now it's 200 to 400, the cast time on her Q got reduced, the cooldown on her Q got reduced, her base movement speed got increased, and then finally she reaches 55% win rate, turbo broken, basically an auto win, and she gets nerfed within a day. But you can see here 11.21, this is the last buff. She didn't get nerfed on 11.22, she got nerfed on a hotfix after 11.22. So what happened? Well, it's actually pretty simple what happened. Let me go to items at Masters Plus and you guys can maybe understand. Everyone started building lethality on Xayah instead of crit. Why did everybody start to build lethality instead of crit on Xayah, and why in particular Eclipse? Because the second thing that happened is people started to spam Summon Airy. You can see 68% of Xayahs are going Summon Airy, and it's got a very positive win rate, and everything's doing amazing here. So what happened? Why did Eclipse, lethality, Summon Airy, Xayah become so broken? Let's talk about Xayah as a champion. Xayah as a champion tends to have very low agency throughout a game. She doesn't have mobility, she doesn't have any dashes, she has very little ways to win a fight, really, other than just stat check people. She can throw a lot of, feathers and do a lot of damage and try to kill you, but there's not much she can do really to kind of like outplay you. She can't dash in or out. She has very little poke other than her little dinky Qs, which don't do much damage. So, realistically, she's not a very high agency champion, and she relies on people like Leona going up for her, stunning people, and her just sort of acting like a low range weapons platform that just runs up and murders everyone in front of you. So what happened? Well, people figured out if you have Eclipse and you have Summon Airy, you hit someone with your Q, it'll then hit them with Summon Airy, which then procs Eclipse because now 2 attacks or abilities have hit them, and she gains movement speed. Now, it is on a long cooldown, but that is still movement speed that she can activate at range. This gives her a little bit more agency and things that she can do. Additionally, when she gets a Serilda's Grudge, she can slow at range, allowing her to catch in or get away from people, kite a little bit more. It gives the champion a lot more agency. In particular, this is why, as we can see here, the cooldown on her Q was nerfed back to 6 seconds from 4, because she was using it and maxing Q and doing a lot of damage at range and poking people and having a lot of agency. So then how did she get to 55% win rate? Well, again, with all these, where are they? With all these buffs, they decided to just throw in lethality. Why lethality? Why not use the ability crit items, Essence Reaver and Navari Quick Blades? Because they're kind of bad. Navari Quick Blades, let me give you guys a brief history lesson. Reducing your cooldowns on your basic abilities by auto-attacking people. That used to be on a basic item. Now, it's changed its name a lot. It used to be Essence Reaver, then it was Spirososian, and now it's Navari Quick Blades. There still is an Essence Reaver in the game, so it can be a bit confusing, because Essence Reaver used to be Navari Quick Blades, which used to be Spirososian, so I'm just going to call it Navari Quick Blades for simplicity. Okay. Navari Quick Blades was originally an item designed for AD carries. However, non-AD carries were using it, and they were using it pretty well. Riot decided, well, let's push it off AD carries, and let's push it onto bruisers then. And it started to do really good. Too good. Like, way too good. Then Riot decided, you know what, let's kill that and let's push it back to AD carries. So it used to be designed for AD carries, then it was pushed into bruisers, then it was literally removed and redesigned into Navari Quick Blades, and now it's only for AD carries. So you might be wondering, if this item is so bad, why doesn't Riot buff it? It's because they're a little bit afraid of it. The last time this item was top tier, it promoted some super toxic playstyles, and it's extremely limited right now, with the intention of being limited so that not everyone can use it. Unfortunately, right now that means basically only Tryndamere can use it, and it's not really that good. It needs you to crit, which is super RNG based. It needs you to stack crit, which is very limiting on how you can achieve, you have to be stacking all crit items to make this item work. You can't build it first, you can't really even build it second. Third, here we're running into the issue. Why can't you build it third? Because in their crit rework, they designed Infinity Edge, so this will basically always be the third item on basically every AD carry. Because you have 60% crit, you get more crit damage. Enough crit damage that, yeah, realistically, you're going to build Infinity Edge third, and it's always going to be the best item. Is it overpowered? Yes. Is it okay that it's overpowered? Probably also yes. The thing is that Infinity Edge, every class is an item that tends to be a bit overpowered. A lot of people forget that. Mages have Hourglass, Bruisers have Steric's Gauge, AD carries have Infinity Edge. It's not game breaking that a class is an overpowered item that pushes them into a playstyle. Bruisers can run up and not instantly die. Mages, I don't really know why they need Hourglass. And AD carries have Infinity Edge to ensure that as the game reaches the mid to late game and people start dying really fast by abilities, that auto attacks remain competitive in the mid to late game, and it's not just abilities one-shotting people and auto attacks falling to the wayside. Whether or not you think that's needed, I'm just explaining why it exists. So, Navari Quick Blades, let's go back. We can't build it first, we can't build it second, we can't build it third. And now this gets a little bit more confusing, because Riot also pushed Lord Dominic's Regards to be extremely overpowered. Now we're running into a double issue. Every AD carry is going to need Infinity Edge and Lord Dominic's Regards. You will always need those two items. Does everyone understand that? The item setup is in such a way that you will need a Mythic, you will need Infinity Edge, and you will need Lord Dominic's Regards. That's 3 items for AD carries that are already designed to be needed in every single game. So to get Essence Reaver and to get Navari Quick Blades, you would need to get one of your base Mythics, Essence Reaver second, then Infinity Edge. So by third item, you don't have Lord Dominic's, which makes you a little bit weaker against tanks. Fourth item, you're gonna have to go Lord Dominic's, you're not gonna deal damage to tanks. That leaves you only 5th item, Navari Quick Blades. Now, Are you starting to see the issue here? If I'm trying to play an ability-based AD carry like Xayah, this is putting a large amount of pain on my build and not really allowing it to be viable at all. The build's not really viable. But now let's go into why they swapped over to lethality. Why did they decide, instead of building crit at all, I'm just going to go lethality? Well, let's look at lethality. Lethality gives you more damage on physical damage. Any physical damage you do will do more damage. That's basically what lethality means. It reduces their armor, so you do more damage. That's good for abilities, and that's good for auto attacks. Crit is only good for auto attacks, excepting extremely niche abilities like Xayah's Feather Caller, her pull feather damage, that scales a little bit on crit. But other than that, no, lethality. So, let's look then at Manamune. Why is Manamune so popular? Well, because Manamune is broken as fuck. This item is disturbingly overpowered. But let's look at what it does. You have Essence Reaver and you have Manamune. Essence Reaver gives you damage and crit and ability haste, and after you use an ability you do more damage. So effectively your abilities will in a way do more damage because they make your auto attacks do more damage. It gives you ability haste so you can use your abilities more often, crit to make your auto attacks hit harder, and then some damage. So it makes your attacks hit harder, your abilities hit harder, ability haste, and effectively infinite mana. Do you understand that? Manamune makes your attacks hit harder, your abilities hit harder, some ability haste, and near infinite mana. Well, wait. Huh. That's odd, right? They're in effect doing basically the same thing. Manamune, when it becomes Muramana, or whatever it is, your abilities all deal bonus damage on each hit, and your auto attacks all do bonus damage. And it gives you a crap load of damage, and it gives you a near infinite supply of mana. So, wait. You're starting to piece the puzzle together now, aren't you? You're starting to think, well, wait, isn't that just better for ability-based auto attackers? Because it scales your abilities hard, and it scales your auto attacks hard, and it gives you a crap load of damage and near infinite mana. Exactly. That is exactly what's happening here. Yes, Manamune is just far superior to the Novari Quickblades combo with Essence Reaver because you only need one item. This allows you to go Eclipse into Manamune into Cerulda's Grudge. Feels a lot better, doesn't it? You get lethality, you get a crap load of damage, and then you get percent armor pen. 1, 2, 3, great, right? If I went with the crit route, I'd have to build one of these crit mythics, then Lord Dominic's Regards, then Infinity Edge to get the same combo of armor pen and a crap load of damage. And then I would have no scaling on my abilities. Do you understand that? I would have no scaling on my abilities. So ability-based auto attackers are forced to decide between those. Now, Lord Dominic's Regards is just too powerful. Infinity Edge is too powerful, realistically, to pass up. On the other side, this is clean. Additionally, once you get Yomu's Ghostblade, we were talking about agency on Xayah, correct? Yomu's Ghostblade allows Xayah to activate to get bonus movement speed to get in or out of combat. She gets movement speed out of combat. This is more agency to the champion. She's allowed to do more, and she's allowed to act on her own. Remember when I talked about the Summon Aerie with Eclipse, gives her movement speed, gives her good poke, allows her to do stuff. So what happened? Again, with all these buffs, okay, with all these buffs, the Xayah players decided finally, ability crit scaling is terrible. These two items don't really work. They're bad, they don't scale good enough, we're ditching them. And they did, they just ditched them. They just said, fuck it, we're not using them anymore. They went to Muramana. And that's it. Suddenly, all these buffs the champion received weren't being used in a shitty low tier build, they were being used on an amazing lethality build, and it went to 55% win rate in a day. In one day. 55% win rate, dominating the game. And so it got hotfix nerfed within a single day. Now just to be clear, if we look at Masters Plus, she still has a 51% win rate. If I go all the way back here, she still has a 51% win rate. She still is the second most picked champion. Massive ban rate. Let's just be clear. Xayah is still doing good with the lethality build after these nerfs. What does this mean in effect? What is the end result of all of this? Basically, Riot isn't really doing a good job on making sure, for all their talks about this mythic thing, for all their talks about mythics will ensure new builds will be good, will make sure epics promote different build styles, for all their talks of that, it really hasn't. For crit AD carries, Infinity Edge and Lord Dominic's Regard are dominant, and you must go them. It leaves very little space in design. For their mythics, we have the do more damage mythic, the get a gap closer mythic, and the tank mythic. That again doesn't leave a lot of design. There's no ability caster mythic. It's the same issue that bruisers are having in a way, except AD carries have 3 different styles on the same gameplay style. Bruisers only have Gore Drinker and Stridebreaker for the most part. If you can use Spellblade, then you can use the other 2. But it's the same issue, where they're not actually promoting many playstyles, they're just giving you the same playstyle 3 different ways. And so AD carry players decided they'd just swap, or I shouldn't say AD carry players, like Xayah players decided we'll swap over, use lethality build, good. And that's it. That's all that happened here. And that's how Xayah reached a 55% win rate. That's why she got hotfix nerfed within a day. That's why she's one of the most broken champions of all time. So, if you made it to the end of this, I thank you. And thanks for watching. Thanks for getting to the end of this. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment down below. You can join my Patreon in the link down below. The link is in the description. You can join my Patreon. It's extremely helpful. It allows me to continue making these videos. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for having a great day. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.